Gab Bro with the super chat says, hell no, J. Cole is not better than Scarface. All right, well, yeah, so J. Cole's at 15. They got J. Cole ahead
This is so depressing.
They got J. Cole one slot ahead of Scarface. Who was it? 17. Oh, 50 Cent. Yeah. Okay.
J. Cole. I'm happy 15. Cole is so high for North Carolina. It's not accurate, but I'm happy for Carolina. I'm happy for the home team. And I like the fact that they actually gave two modern day MCs who were legends, which would be Cole and Kendrick, top 20 placement. Like, I do like that aspect of it. It's just like, I don't know, it's looking more like it needs to be 19 and 20. Not 15 and like 4 like it's about to be.
This is the thing, bro. Like, I do like the fact that, because I know when we were growing up, I always felt like people made these lists and certain people just couldn't be moved. So it made you feel like, well, shit, it doesn't matter what I do. They're not going to put me ahead of this person. Specifically, Tupac and Biggie, right? That was like the thing.
That's still happening.
It is still happening.
Yeah, that's still about to happen.
Even though I think that Nas and Jay have rightfully gotten positions over them, but back then it was like Tupac and Biggie. Who's the greatest rappers ever? Tupac and Biggie. You know what I mean? And it felt immovable. And I do like the fact that they're actually putting active people of a certain generation very high. But I do think that a lot of it's kind of unwarranted and not as deserved as it could be, you know. I hate to be the person.
A little further. Like I hate to be the person to say, but break it down for me.
I hate to be the person to say not yet, but see, this is where we're at in hip hop right now. Hip hop is 50, so a lot of these guys are still going, and so they're ranking people high that are still in the midst of their prime when you have people who have gone through all different stages of their career. Cole and Kendrick haven't seen these stages yet, and I just think at this point, it just doesn't seem fair to be able to judge them up against a Scarface, a Cube, who's gone through so much in the career and still going through it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know which level you can gauge and say that Cole should be at a higher spot than somebody like a Scarface or a
nice Cube.
Now, if you think he's nicer and you like his music more, that's one thing. But if we sit there and look at the resume and we look at the different stages, it's just not fair to Cole to even really be matched up with them. You know what I mean? But I understand the inclusion. I love the inclusion, so people don't just look at the list like they look at our list a lot of times. Be like, oh, this is an old niggas list or whatever. But you got to be accurate.
Let me submit something to you, if I may. I'm actually somewhere in the middle on this, and I'm going to tell you where I'm at in the middle on it. It's like, well, Cole does kind of deserve to be there with Cole. I mean, with Ice Cube and Scarface. I'll tell you why. Do I think he's a better storyteller than either one of them? No. But is he in the arena of as a storyteller? Well, yes. Well, lyrically, is he better than both of those guys? Well, yes. But listen to what I'm about to say. Mike, this is why in this genre, and I don't know how the other parts of it work, classic albums have always mattered in this genre. They've always mattered a lot. Now, why did I just say Kendrick so high? Those classic albums. Now, when you sit Cole as an MC next to Scarface and Ice Cube, do I think that he can compete? Yes. Now, Mike, break out the Diary and Death Certificate right quick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then after you get done with the Diary and Death Certificate, Mike, we going to play The Fix, and then we going to play America's Most. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then after we do that, Mike, we going to play Kill at Will, and we going to play Mr. Scarface is Back. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then after that, Mike, we going to play Straight Outta Compton, and we going to play The Untouchable. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, well, I love Cole, but Forest Hills Drive is your best album. And so I don't see in the canon of music how, although the MC that you are deserves to stand there, But the body of work says you don't stand next to those guys. Where's the bird in hand? Where's the good day? And he might be a better single maker than both of them, and he doesn't have a Never Seen a Man Die or a Good Day.
I don't know if I could say he's a better single maker than Cube, and Cube has Good Day.
That's what I mean.
I can't say that.
And not to be funny, I don't care what nobody says. We Be Clubbing's a jam.
Oh, yeah.
Like a legit
jam. You know how
jam.
we do it. You know how we do it. Like,
that's what I mean. Those are legit.
Check yourself. Check yourself.
Right.
No, this is my thing, and I agree with what you're saying. But the other part of it for me is the fact that, like, let's look at LeBron, right? And where he is in his career. He's about to pass Kareem. And how outstanding he is in, what is it, his 20th season, 19th season? It's difficult to say somebody in their 11th season is better than him when he's doing this at his, like, I need to see what they're going to look like in their 19th season. And that's kind of how I feel when it comes to, you know, Cole and Face and Cube and stuff. Like, these guys are still going. This would be a different conversation if they stopped around 03 or something. You know what I mean?
Think about this. When you're bowing out of the game, like Face is, and you got a Deeply Rooted that you dropped in 2016, and your first album dropped, I don't know, when was that? 1989, 1990, 91?
Yeah,
90?
90. Yeah.
90?
Yeah.
First album dropped in 90, and you dropped something 26 years later, that quality.
Exactly.
Then
that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying it's unfair at this point. It's like,
well, it's not unfair, Mike. This is what happened when a genre goes. It's like this.
No, I ain't saying it's unfair. I'm just saying he shouldn't be ahead of somebody like that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's like this. When they were building Vegas out, Mike, like, you know, when they building those casinos, they didn't look like the way that they look now. And the buy-ins at those tables wasn't the same back then.
Yeah.
But when you build it out and it gets bigger and it gets grander and it gets more of a name, well, it costs more to walk in the door. It costs more to stay there, but it costs more to be remembered too.
Yeah.
Like so a lot of these guys that people think are great, it's like, well, and I'm saying this respectfully, well, Cole and Kendrick didn't hit the ground running with no fucking Ready to Die or Illmatic or Reasonable Doubt or America's Most and Straight Outta Compton or The Diary. And no, they didn't hit the ground running like that, Mike. And that's part of the reason why I don't put them ahead. When you didn't hit the ground running like that, part of why I hold Kendrick so high is because Kendrick hit the ground running the way all-time great MCs do.
Yeah.
There was a Good Kid, Mad City and a Section 80 and it's a Pimp a Butterfly, like boom, boom, bam. The same way there's a Paid in Full. Mm-hmm. And a Let the Rhythm Hit Him, and a Follow the Leader, and a By Any Means Necessary, and a Criminal Minded, and a Road to Riches, and a Wanted Dead or Alive, and an Illmatic, and It Was Written. No, he has that. That's why I put him so high. He does not have the tools those other guys have. I've always said that.
Dame252 with the super chat says, looks like Drake will finish in the top 10. Checking my head, of course. Yeah, I think they're gonna put Drake ahead of Wayne. Jay Short with the super chat says, I used the greatest hits test. If at least 3 cuts on the album aren't in the contention for a 20-track greatest hits, the album isn't good. I'll say this. I don't know about isn't good, but I'll say this. If you're in your prime and everything else you've made does meet that test, and, yeah, you drop something and it doesn't meet that test, yeah, that's a fall off. Now, somebody like Nas or whatever, he has such an illustrious career. There's a lot of stuff on KD2 or KD3 that couldn't make, they might not make his greatest hits. That's not a barometer of anything because he has a wealth of everything.
Right. Everybody's greatest hits ain't built the same. But
exactly.
this is what I will tell you, Mike, and we found this out from doing our own verses on the Patreon show. 9 times out of 10, Mike, when we do these verses and it's an artist or a group, we're usually only pulling from about 2 albums. Tell me that I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
We usually pull from about 2 albums because usually, even for the all-time greats, they have about 2 or 3 or 4 albums where you can go pull their material and you can go fade almost everybody. I'll give you a prime example. That's not Mike. You can go to Reasonable Doubt, Volume 1, The Blueprint, and the Black Album, Mike, and you can go wax anybody then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cole and Kendrick don't have that, do they? Kendrick got 4 albums like that? Barely.
Esquire with a
That's
super
why
chat.
he's so high.
Esquire with a super chat says, Coop, you are pivoting again. You judging Dot on how Nas critics unfairly rate his LPs by judging Mr. Morale by Dot standards instead of the entire field. I think we judged it by the entire field as well, right? We put it up against the other albums. But we also know what he can do, and I think that, again, that 5-year break, and it took you 5 years and come back with this, it feels like we're not going to get anything at that level again. Now, I think that's what that feels like.
But here's what I would tell you.
Because it's not like we got any inkling with features that make us feel like, well, you know what? He still might be in there or something. You know what I mean?
This is what I mean about hitting those highest of highs. So let me ask you something. Are you with me now that Good Kid, Mad City is his best album?
I think it connected the most. Me personally, I think To Pimp a Butterfly from a, you know what I'm saying, from an actual technical level is a better album. But yeah, Good Kid, Mad City seems to be the one that connects the most with people. So I could say that's his best.
But so I want you to listen to what you just said. We just had a conversation about how, listen to what I'm saying. You and me were talking the other day, and we were talking about how this Nas run is one of the best stretches of his career. Like, because then he's had about 2 other stretches like this. Now, we're talking about Good Kid, Mad City, and we're talking about To Pimp a Butterfly. Mike, when did those albums come out exactly?
Good Kid, Mad City was, 2013, and To Pimp a Butterfly was 15.
So, now with that being said...
Or was it 12?
Yeah. 12 and 14.
12. Nah, I know To Pimp a Butterfly was 15.
12 and 15, technically. Yeah. I think Good Kid, Mad City is late 12.
Yeah, something like that.
The actual drop is late 12. Poetic Justice started playing in the summertime, it feels like.
Yeah, because it celebrated 10 years last year.
So, that's the same 2-year gap as Illmatic and it was written, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's Stillmatic, Lost Tapes, and Godson at? You feel me? About how there's levels to this?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you're like, you're not going to get it again, it's like, oh no, I told you, Mike, I was cool with him doing Damn again because I understand the degree of difficulty and how hard it is. And people need to understand how hard the level is and the difficulty is. So when they're praising him like he's operating on the same level, it's like, well, Mike, he didn't just disappear for 5 years. But that level that you're actually talking about, that all-time greatest MC level, oh, he ain't been on that level in even before Damn. You feel me?
DeCarlo with the super chat says, Cole being over Ice Cube is arguable. Honestly, I don't have a problem with it. My heart won't let me put him over Scarface, though Cole got a lot of work out there. Cube, man. No, man. But again, maybe that's me being biased.
No, listen to what Leroy Game just said. Like, think about Kendrick's last 3 albums. Damn, Untitled, Mr. Morale.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last 3 albums. So when you're talking about this legend of him, no, you're talking about the guy that made Section 80 in 2009. Section 80 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Good Kid, Mad City 2012. To Pimp a Butterfly 2014. That's the guy you're talking about. What year are we in, Mike? He's almost a decade now from his peak works and performance.
That's fair. Jay Short Super Chat says, Coop, putting Cole in the same classification as Cube and Face is blasphemous. Cole invokes no emotion in his music. It's completely safe.
No, as an MC, he's there, is what I was saying. That's what I was saying. Like, as an MC, no, he's there. He's a better lyricist than both of them.
DeCarlo with the super chat says, why don't y'all ever talk about Cole's albums like y'all do Kendrick's? He has great albums with comparable singles, and I think more people actually listen to Cole's albums more than Kendrick's.
I don't think the albums are better necessarily. In particular, Good Kid, Mad City. How about this? I just feel like Good Kid, Mad City and To Pimp a Butterfly are vastly superior to his best project, which is Forest Hills Drive. Mike, do you echo those sentiments?
I agree with that. I think Damn's better as well. But,
I don't see. Okay, I put Damn and Forest Hills Drive on the same level, but that would be my thing. And
I would like to put a poll up with that.
Like, and I told you, it's like, and we've even talked about it. It's like, well, if you technically go down all the things that Cole does, you could say he's a better MC than Kendrick, except for like that album output, which is like the holy grail around here.
Yeah. Michael Williams with the super chat says, if Magic and Cheat Codes came out in the same year, who would you have given Lyricist of the Year to?
It's easy.
I'm going Magic.
I mean, can I ask you something, Mike? Isn't Magic the best lyrical performance we've heard in, like, I don't know, a decade?
I'm going to say this, man. When I heard Magic, if you would have told me that those were songs left over from I Am sessions, I would have believed you.
Well, then you need to say less, Mike, because that's the guy that was the greatest MC of all time. Like, the guy that's like, oh, no, you can't fuck with that guy. That's the guy you're talking about. Yeah.
Eric Terrell with the super chat says, 90s rap music is just as good as 90s, I guess, he said 80s rap music, excuse me, is just as good as 90s. There's no such thing as a peak. All decades have good and bad. Give me 20 90s albums, and I can match that with 80s. Eric. Listen.
No, you
as
can't.
A person who, I do a lot of the postings on According to Hip Hop, right?
I'm sorry, but no, you can't.
No, let me handle this. I do a lot of postings on According to Hip Hop, right? And so sometimes we kind of just, wrap up the best hip hop albums for each year. When you get to 85 to 80, it's very slim. Every year in the 90s is packed. We even talked about the weakest years of the 90s is probably 92 and 99. 92 has The Chronic. What's the best hip-hop album of 1983? 84.
You don't want to do that.
It's different, man. Like
80.
Now, I'll give 88 the deal. Like 88 is packed, and I think 88 is that transition. It's that year in the 80s, but 88 looks like 95 and 96. Like for the biggest year the 80s has, the 90s has 2 of those years, and that's not even counting 94. So no, album for album and year for year, it's no. The 90s is still the best era. I mean, it just is.
Now,
it's something about 80s hip hop that I like more than 90s music. Like I like the feel of 80s hip hop more than 90s sometimes. I think 90s got a little bit too hard. 80s, they were having fun. But as far as the album structure, nah, man.
y'all bugging. Y'all bugging. I don't even know what to tell you.
Los Almighty with the super chat says, I'm going to need somebody to battle test K-Dot and Cole to rate them in the top 10 and not subliminals. I need some disrespect. That's one thing we can say about Drake. He's battle tested at least. Esquire with the super chat says, Cole has classic albums / mixtapes. He got FNL, Warm Up, FHD, and maybe Born Sinner, but not in the same tier as the top 10 to 15 MCs. He has undeniable. He has an undeniable instant classic album in him, but he hasn't delivered it yet.
How about this? His catalog is good enough to me that it's like we can have the Kendrick Cole conversation after Cole gives me something to put next to Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City. All jokes aside, because he has the edge in a lot of ways, but it's like, no, you got to make the project.
This is my thing, Coop.
Like legends are based on their projects, Mike. Okay, so look at it like this. Like maybe not on this list, but our legends are based on their projects. Rakim, Paid in Full, Snoop, Doggy Style, Nas, Illmatic, Jay, Reasonable Doubt, Big, both of them. You know what I'm saying?
When did Friday Night Lights come out, Coop?
2010 or 2009, one of the two.
It's 2023. If he hasn't given us the album that he can give us yet, it's not coming. That's just the harsh reality.
I don't believe you, and I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you why I don't believe you. And this is the only reason that I don't believe you. I swear in the last 2 years, this man has gotten better.
Doesn't matter.
I've heard it. I've heard
matter.
it. He's actually better than he was before.
Like I told you about the Kendrick thing.
So I'm going to hold on and I'm going to wait, much like the Kendrick thing.
And much like the Kendrick thing.
Like, people don't understand. It was me that was counting on Kendrick, not you.
Listen, man, I feel vibes. I know the science or whatever, man. If he ain't done it in 14 years, we got what we're gonna get from him. He is who he's saying he is.
He's not, Mike.
He is.
He's not.
I mean, what great artist would you say that had that level of potential? I mean, again, I'm the same person that says the same things about Andre 3000. Like, he's not gonna come. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not gonna happen.
Can I tell you something? And it's not because I was still rapping, and it's not because I was competitive. That has a lot to do with it. I just lied when I said all that. But I was never super big on him like everybody else early on.
Who, Cole?
It wasn't Cole.
Yeah.
Like, I always thought he was good. I like Vilmatic, but like the way everybody else was flocking to him, I never flocked to him like that. It's not because I'm hating. He's from Carolina. I told you I want him to win more than I want anybody else to win for my home state, for my family's home state. Like, truly.
I would love if Cole dropped Album of the Year this year.
That's what I'm saying, though. So
I think he has a To Pimp a Butterfly, A Good Kid, Mad City in him 14 years in? No, I don't.
That's what I'm saying, though, is that, like, I don't know, and I say this because I'm from North Carolina, too, I don't ever know if he even got cultivated by the business that way. And he did sign to Rock Nation early. He was in New York a lot. I feel like he's found his place in his space. And I am expecting his next product to be his best product, Mike. I am expecting that.
Okay.
I am counting on that. I am banking on that. His next project, his next solo album is going to be his best work.
That'll be a great win for hip hop. But 14 years in, I just never seen it, man. I mean, maybe he can do something we've never seen, but I really rely on history. I really rely on history to give us the future. And if we've never gotten that, it's hard for me to say that we will. Gab Rose with the super chat says, the way this is going, top 10 through 6, maybe Nicki, Snoop, Drake, Wayne, K-Dot. That's what I was thinking, actually. Already angry about where they're going to possibly put Biggie and Nas. John Wayne with the super chat. Shout out to John Wayne. He got.
So you understand? Hold on, Mike. You do understand that Drake, Wayne, and Nicki are all making the top 10 list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll talk about this. John Wayne with the super chat says, "No way, Magic is the best lyrical performance you've heard in a decade. Written testimony."
Give me the album.
He said, "A written testimony lyricism is way better. We could go bar for bar." John Wayne comes in with the testimony. Shout out to Jay Electronic.
Mike, just get him. Just go ahead and get him. Mike, you know that's not true. That's not even, Mike, like a written testimony is not even in this conversation, actually, for the lyrical piece of work. Like, I don't know what the hell you talking about, fam. Just because fam don't ever drop an album, and just because Jay ain't spit no bars y'all like in a minute, don't mean that the album was lyrically. I'm so tired of people lying about this music, Mike. Lyrically, it's not like that. Not like that. Niggas ain't walking around spitting bars off there. You be like Magic, people be like, I got so many kids in the game, it's like a gender revealing. I got that feeling Lionel Richie dancing on the ceiling. Like it just starts happening, Mike. Bohemian Grove, they couldn't get Nas to visit. No, the bar work on there.
We should Patreon that. Bar work.
Don't do that to them. You don't want those two guys to catch a body from the greatest MC of all time, like in rare form. You don't want to do that to them. They'll never live it down.
Jay Short with the super chat says, honest question. Are we giving Cole extra credit for the work the rest of the Dreamville roster has done? Is that JID, Earth Gang compilation work making Cole's catalog appear singing better than it is?
No, the fact that he's out rapping everybody not named Nas and Black Thought is what makes me feel that way. Mike, he is literally rapping on a Nas and Black Thought level, and it's not fraudulent or like a homer pick for me to say that.
He's rapping at a very high level.
He's rapping at that level, Mike.
I hope that he makes a project to match it. But again, I think that to ask an album of To Pimp a Butterfly, A Good Kid, Mad City level is
No,
a
I said his
tall
best
order.
project. No, that's a tough. I don't think those orders is as tall as the masses do, but still a tall order. But nothing, small thing to a giant though, man, because he's been a giant with it lately.
He is a giant. DeCarlo with the super chat says, y'all don't talk enough about the bad work that guys like Cube, LL, and even Scarface have. How come they don't lose points for that the way that Kendrick and Cole, or the way that Mass did when Jay exposed him? Mace? Okay.
Mace,
First
of all, Scarface only has one bad album, and you watch your mouth.
Well, I think the thing is, DeCarlos, these guys have a whole lot of work. You know what I'm saying? And so when you have a whole lot of work, yeah, you are going to have some misses. I think that we judge some of, I guess, the Kendrick era or whatever on this Andre 3000 scale where you don't care that they don't have a whole lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that Scarface, LL, and Cube have the catalog that they have, yeah, you're going to do some misses.
Scarface doesn't have misses. Scarface has miss. Singular.
I can't think of a bad Scarface project.
The World Is Yours is not a good album, Mike. It's not up to his level. The second album, the album in between, Mr. Scarface is Back in the Diary.
Yeah.
The album that has Let Me Roll on it.
Yeah.
Like that album is a little shaky. Cool. The rest of the stuff is just hard.
That's why with the super chat says, y'all call Daytona a classic, which it isn't. Definitely not on the top tier. And it came out 16 years after Lord Willing. Hell Hath No Fury doesn't count. I think Daytona's a classic, but again, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. What's wrong with Daytona other than Esquire? What's wrong with it other than the fact that it's 7 tracks? Tell me.
That's the only thing people be complaining about. Be like, well,
I've never heard anybody say anything else otherwise. Nobody's like, man, the production ain't it, the lyricism ain't it. What is it other than the fact that it's 7 tracks?
Daytona's a classic.
I'm sorry, man. Like,
I'm not having this conversation with people. You're not about to run around and tell me Mr. Morale is good and then tell me Daytona's not a classic. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not about to let people do that. You're not about to run me like that. You're not about to run my life. You're not about to run this hip hop world this way. Daytona's not a classic, and Mr. Morale is like the best thing in such an intricate and brilliant. No. Wrong. Flag on the play. Offsides.
You either with the pro ballers or the amateurs.
Unnecessary roughness.
Good morning. Oh, it said, Matt Lauer, can I live? Look at my new digs.
Intentional grounding.
Lower levels where you settle at. I'm the pot calling the kettle back, where there's no brick pedals at. Between God and where the devil's at. Had to double dutch and double back, and backstroke to where the trouble's at. Exactly what the game's been missing. Fire gets hot as hell's kitchen. Push. The whole album's like that. Jay Short with the super chat says, where is this bad Scarface work people are speaking of? His second album. The World Is Yours, 1993.
He
said his second album was his worst, and it still has classics. I can't count 5 bad face songs.
That's the one. No, the second album, we're on the same page. Like the second album, The World Is Yours album is the bad album. And like that album has like bangers on it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like his worst shit is better. Like his worst shit is better than most of these niggas' dope shit today.
BCMD Dub with the super chat says Cole doesn't have that magnum opus album yet. I think we all can agree on that, and see what we're disagreeing on is the fact that, listen, maybe I'm just a skeptic or whatnot, but I feel like if it hadn't come 14 years in, it's not coming.
I do like the Pusha T reference to Daytona, though, because,
but again, he had classic stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, I told you, Mike, Hell Hath No Fury is still better than Daytona to me.
So, yeah, and again.
It's not even a conversation.
You know what? Hold on. Let's rewind. I didn't see Daytona coming in that way, but you know what? Kanye West. Now, if J. Cole gets with Kanye West for a whole album, we might be talking about something. But that's not happening.
if memory serves, I called that one because I remember when you hit me up and was like, Kanye's about to drop these 7 song projects for everybody. I was like, let me write the reviews for all those. I think he's about to do something groundbreaking, and he did. It was Daytona.
Yep. Game changer. Now, like I said, if J. Cole makes a different move in that way, where it's like we get somebody like a Kanye West or maybe a RZA or some shit like that to do the whole album, then yes, we might be onto something.
Hold on. Not to be funny, and I know the wait's been a little bit longer. What year did Like Water for Chocolate come out, Mike?
Like Water for Chocolate was 2000.
What year did Common's first album come out?
92.
91, 92, correct. It was December 91 and then re-released, I think. Or something happened. It was like 91, 92, but right at the end. So it was almost a 9-year, you know what I'm saying?
But
so
he had Resurrection, and he had...
I love Resurrection. I love One Day It'll All Make Sense. It's not Like Water for Chocolate, and people need to stop acting like it is.
Yeah. I think it's a different situation too, Coop. Because
we're gonna have a real hip-hop conversation this year. Resurrection.
I think with artists like Common, though, Coop, they were able to kind of catch their stride with no pressure. Nobody was sitting here crowning Common the king of hip-hop or anything like they do Cole. So he was able to kind of just make albums and continuously, progressively get better for his fans. You know what I mean?
I don't think that that's true because the move to New York was like a pressure thing.
It was.
To produce better results than he had been producing because he was 3 albums in with no gold records, no gold plaques, no real notoriety outside of hardcore hip-hop circles. So I don't necessarily totally agree with that. There was definitely some pressure. He even speaks on it. I remember back in the days, they used to call me Chi-Town's Nas. Now the niggas look at me like one of Chi-Town's guys.
Well, you know what drastically changed with Like Water for Chocolate?
Dilla.
Yeah. And the fact that no ID, that he made the no ID switch. It is what it is. DeCarlo with the super chat says that was supposed to say Nas, not Mace, in the last super chat. Oh, okay, I got you. Let's see. John Wayne with the super chat. Shout out to John Wayne. Says it unfoils the slave that shook hands and humbled the Dukes of Earl, that spoke sterling silver and pearls twirled, tumbled out the nappy coils. Hove on WT Magic could never. Said Magic could never. That was listen. There's bars on a written testimony. Gab Bro with the super chat says Big Boy, AZ, G-Rap, Lupe, Jizza, not top 50. Shaking my head. We're gonna get to that. Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says just wanted to give Head Over Heels by Allure featuring Nas some attention. Dope record.
Why would you do that?
You ain't like that record? Esquire with the super chat says
that's one of those records that Columbia made him do because that group was signed to Columbia. He had no business on that record. Hell no.
Coop doesn't like those kind of records. I thought it was cool.
It's not a good record.
Esquire with the super chat says, how did Daytona move the needle creatively? Kanye's production carried it, and the Drake beef overshadowed the music in terms of impact. 7 songs is an EP. Well, I think the way that it kind of shifted things was creatively. It was the fact that after that, people start releasing 7 to 8 song albums. And let's not act like that Pusha was a slouch on the lyricism for the whole album. Like, he was going in. There's not a weak verse on that album. I think that as a producer, though, Kanye had him double down on his subject matter as he's been doing even after Daytona. And I think everything on Daytona is a banger. I think that also, when we talk about the Drake thing, overshadowing whatever, I think the people who listen to hip-hop and listen to Pusha listen to the album for what it was. I think that Infrared brought over, I don't want to say some unnecessary Drake fans, but some Drake fans that would never have listened to him otherwise. And giving them reason to feel that way. I never felt like that when the album came out. I was like, oh shit, he threw a shot at Drake, whatever, keep it moving. I never thought that overshadowed the album on any level. Because Infrared is not the games we play. It's not If You Know, You Know. It's not Hard Piano. It's not Santeria. It's not. So,
I mean, to be honest with
I
you, the
don't
only
think,
record
I think
it's
you're
better than,
overblowing Drake, Esquire.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think the Infrared actually next to Comeback Baby is probably the weakest song on Daytona, Mike.
I think, man, really, Wayne got it the worst on Infrared when he was like, it's like Flash Without the Fire.
Another multi-platinum rapper trapped and can't retire.
Niggas get exposed. I see the cracks and I'm the liar. Shit, I've been
exposed.
And the crack and built the wire. Now who do you
admire? Your rap songs is all trying my patience. What he say? Them numbers ain't real without inflation.
I done do it. I said I done knew it. I done blew it. Been a conduit.
That's how he is on the record. It's like bang bang, ooh, bang bang. Ooh.
No, it started out with the shout out to Ross because the verse was pure. He see what I see when you see Wayne on tour. Flash Without the Fire. Another multi-platinum rapper trapped and can't retire. Niggas get exposed. I see the cracks and I'm the liar. Shit, I've been exposed. I built the crack and I seen the crack and built the wire. Now who do you admire? That shit's hard, man.
It is ridiculous.
I think the Esquire might be a Drake and Wayne fan and took that.
Very disrespectful how they've been getting tossed around like that.
Jermaine
like,
Johnson
for real,
with the super chat.
For real, like not joking, Mike, but it's like, and you know, Push is my guy, but it's like Drake and Wayne kind of been letting this dude just kind of like push them around for a long time.
Yeah,
they do not want it really.
And shout out to Drake for actually stepping up. And,
I mean, yeah, but it's like what happens
something.
when you get in the ring, like what happens when somebody who wants to get you in the ring so they can hit you, well, you find out when you get your ass in the ring, it's like, no, he really wanted to hit me. It's like, yeah, he really wanted to hit you, fam. What you get in the ring for?
Yo, Pusha T on Infrared is show enough going in Bruce Leroy's parents' pizza shop and putting his brother in the trash can and trashing the place.
Like it's nothing.
Now you gotta fight me. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says Styles P is way too often overlooked in my personal top 10. With his recent high quality consistency and output of albums every single year to twice a year. Where should we rate him? We need a conversation with Styles P. For real. Because I think we all rate Jada so high and Styles P is the one with the albums. Especially if albums mean so much.
Let's finish this list so we can like talk about that and give Styles some burns.
Let me finish these super chats real quick. Web Visibility says, would you say the Nas verse on J. Cole's Let Nas Down is probably his most underrated feature?
No.
He got a lot of features.
Right. I was actually thinking like the Jadakiss verse on Show Discipline is super underrated.
But what about Nas' feature? That's what you're saying.
No. That's what I'm talking about. Nas's feature on Show Discipline is super underrated. Jadakiss is Show Discipline on Kiss the Game Goodbye.
I misread what you said. Yeah. Dame 252 with the super chat says, if Cole gets with Hit Boy for a whole project, possibly. Hit Boy's doing great work.
Shout out to Hit Boy.
Gary Pierce with the super chat, the $20 super chat. Appreciate the love. He says, K-Dot is not the GOAT. Just like the 70s music and Mike Jordan is basketball. 90s hip hop is king. Why is everybody obsessed with putting K-Dot on the God level? Dude is great, but not top 5. Desperate to anoint someone new. I agree. And you know what? It seems like they only do that in hip hop. We're so desperate to move legends around where it's like, I mean, Rolling Stone is going to keep Elvis in the top 15, 10, whatever. They don't care who comes around. You know what I'm saying? Like, Justin Timberlake's way more talented than Elvis ever was. They'll never put Justin Timberlake above Elvis. Ever.
Justin Timberlake with tap dance on Elvis's blue suede shoes in a dance battle. You understand? Tap dance. Sammy Davis style tap dance.
He's better singer than him, too. Jay Short with the super chat says, if J. Cole has so many classics, why does his name never come up in these versus combos?
First of all,
because even his fans know that it wouldn't be a good look.
That's
Interesting.
what I mean about the. So once again, this is what I mean about seminal work. When you actually look at it, it's like no, I can pull most of his great stuff from about 2 albums, but you need that third and that fourth, and he needs that project. Everybody's not going to make It Takes a Nation of Millions or Illmatic or Reasonable Doubt. Like we have to start understanding that.
He needs
But
that go-to
understand,
project. Yeah.
but understand Good Kid, Mad City isn't that either, and y'all have Kendrick up in here, and so like there ain't no really like this is what I mean. It's like if you putting Kendrick and Cole in the top 20, well, you're admitting them both for the same set of circumstances and reasons. Do not act like the hypocrisy exists on one side and not the other, because do not think that Good Kid, Mad City is fucking with those other projects from those other people you about to send Kendrick next to, unless you're standing them next to Eminem and Drake and Wayne and Nicki, which is what's happening. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, but trying to stand him next to Pac and Big and Nas and Jay, that's a joke to me, Mike. And I mean that very sincerely. That is a joke to me, album and quality wise. It's a joke to me.
Song for song, too. Pick 20
Mike, album wise, it's a joke. Song wise, it's not a conversation.
Yeah.
It's not a conversation.
Esquire with the super chat.
With Hov.
Esquire with the super chat says, where does Daytona rank in Nas, Jay, Face, Cube, Kendrick, Kanye, and The Roots, or Outkast's catalog? Trying to see something.
Well, I've always told you this. Well, that's why he's in the 20s.
Yeah.
Where Kendrick and Cole probably should be, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let's put Daytona up against T.I. albums or Wayne albums or Drake albums. It's topping that.
In my opinion as well.
Yeah.
It is.
BCMD with the super chat says, Jada is one of the greats but has no classic albums. Daytona's better than everything Jada made too.
And Method Man.
Yes. Since we want to name people.
And Black Thought.
It's true. Michael Williams with the super chat says, who was the superior lyricist out of Biggie and Jay? What separated one from the other? I think the superior lyricist was Jay.
I agree.
Pure lyricist
were the difference.
But Biggie was just the better overall MC as far as voice, flow, versatility. He sounded great on everything.
The nuances of Jay's lyricisms are different. So I'll give you the same song. It's like when Jay goes, nigga, please, like short sleeves, I bear arms.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big wasn't coming up with those kind of lines.
Like, so you go to something like when he goes, your rain on the top was short like leprechauns. You know what I'm saying? That's great. It's not quite the same.
I mean, Jay would say stuff like, I sip fine wine and spit vintage flow. Y'all know? I mean, come on, man. Serve like Sampras. Play fake rappers like a campus. And Tigra, son, you're too eager. Come on, man. Nah. Lyrically, yes, that's Jay. All right.